And
Sorry.
no problem. You know, doing our best and, you know, start with opening the escrow, closing the escrow, and it's all about performance. And that's why when I went to that concert, kind of gave me that, and I wanted to share that with everyone. So without further ado, first of all, I want to thank Kim Jordan, who has been kind enough, helped us out, put this meeting together, and appreciate your assistance with the two people that are going to be coming on and speaking today. And of course, we'll start with the two, and then we will get on buyer's need and anyone that has a new listing or any, you know, talk about a little bit about the market. We'll touch on that at the second half. Kim, how are we doing as far as audience? Should we wait another minute or two? And then I will make an introduction, of course.
We have about 15 so far. They're trickling in. So yeah.
Okay. You want to wait maybe another minute, if you don't mind?
Sure.
Okay. That'll be great. Thank you. I see Hani, the man, the legend, he's on, so that's good. Because I know he had a issue getting on round one, so we made him second, and then of course we're going to Rob. I just want to know if Rob is on, and then we'll get started.
Yep, Rob's there.
Rob is in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
All right. Very nice. Very nice. And without further ado, so we'll start. I am David Yashar with KW South Bay. And I'm here with my team, Mr. Omid Saleh, Eric Simonian, Andre here. We have Kim, and of course we have our fellow agents. I believe there's about 15, 16 people, and probably other people are going to be joining in. I'm filling in for Mr. Manny Atias, the boss himself. He's out of town. He's out of the country. I'm sure he's getting some sun. He's having a great time, and he deserves it. Well-deserved vacation. I'm kind of leading this meeting with my team. So thank you very much for the opportunity, Kim. Thank you to KW South Bay. Our first speaker, the one and only, I've known this gentleman for over 20, I think 25 years to be really exact. Mr. Sarab, we call him Rob Jawa. He is the owner, CEO of Alpha Environmental. He is a powerhouse environmental consultant. He does your phase ones, phase twos, the remediation. And of course, I'll let Rob get into it. He is in LA for approximately a week, and he does go back and forth commute from back east from New Jersey. And we appreciate his time and of course, making himself available. I wanted Rob to kind of touch on what's happening today in the environmental world, what the agents need to look for, and of course, after he's done with his presentations, anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. We'll give it about a few minutes for that. And of course, you will have his contact and be able to reach him after this meeting. Rob, please go ahead. Thank you very much again for joining in.
Hey, thank you, David. Appreciate the kind words. Thanks. I want to make sure that we'll be able to present, so I'm going to try to share screen. Kim, if you could help out here, because
you should be able to right now.
Okay, let me see if I could share screen. All right.
Yep, we see it.
All right. Okay. Well, hi, everyone. As David let you know, my name is Saurabh Jawa. We are Alpha Environmental based out here in Chatsworth. Been doing environmental assessments since I think Jesus walked the waters. So too long to admit, but to put it in context, around the early 90s when things were still getting authored what a phase one really means. just get rid of this window here. Sorry. Okay, yeah, there was overlapping windows here. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yes, we can.
All right. So these are the types of environmental assessment I get asked a lot from the real estate industry. What are the types? So I'm going to keep it very simple today. I'm going to go into all today, like what types of environmental assessments are out there, what you really need to do when you're looking at real estate transactions, and what's the difference in each one, and as realtors, how you need to inform your clients and why is it important. So hopefully we can answer some of those high level questions, and then we'll go into some of the frequently asked questions, and then go from there. So the types of assessments that are very common in the industry are the lowest kind, which is like what you may have heard is a database review, or RSRAs, or desktop reviews. You might have heard those terms around. Those are like, the lowest type of inquiries that you could typically order. And then next is transaction screen assessments. So I call them like mini phase one assessments, where you don't do the entire history, but just kind of like a brief phase one, if you may. And phase one, obviously, everybody knows, what they entail. They're about like typically 300 to 500 pages, even sometimes even more, and have a lot of data. And they have to meet certain standards, and we'll get more into that and what they entail and what's important in them. And then, phase one update reports. They're more like, if you have an existing phase one, can you really update it without really going into the whole thing? And, yes, you can is the answer, but I'll go more into that. And then phase two ESAs, those are when you actually have to do some soil sampling, groundwater sampling, or soil vapor sampling, or even indoor air sampling. Anytime you have to sample anything, that's essentially what a phase two ESA entails. And then obviously remediation, which gets into actually fixing the problem. When you find a problem during a phase two, how do you remediate it? And that's what the remediation reports, which is usually beyond the real estate transaction. So hopefully you don't have to deal with too much of that. So how much time do we have, for our, I don't want to get into too much detail, but I'll walk through this.
Rob, the way it looks like right now, you have another 5 to about 7 minutes, because I do want to allow about maybe, I would say about 3 to 5 minutes for questions. And again, my apologies in advance, but yeah, give yourself about 5 to 7 more minutes, please.
Okay, so I'll breeze through some of these, and this is just slide showing what each of these assessments entail. So that's SBA recognizes this RSRA as like as an appropriate inquiry for something like a low risk loan. So this is very common in a SBA kind of scenario. So RSRA, which is basically a database report and a brief opinion by an environmental professional. Transaction screens go into, for our company at least, and every company is going to be different out there, they go and where an environmental professional will actually do a site reconnaissance, do a database report, and get into limited historical research on your property, and then prepare it all in a report and provide it present it to the client. Phase one obviously gets a lot more detail into the site history. It goes into at least to 1938 or before, and that's the most important part of any kind of environmental assessment. It'll look at geology, hydrogeology, obviously the site reconnaissance, which is the inspection itself, and a database report where we look at 50 or more different local, state, federal databases, and all of that is then compiled into a report to provide recommendations whether you need a phase two or you don't need a phase two. And a transaction screen, essentially going back, does the same thing. It basically is a way to screen a property, whether you need a phase one or not. So that's what that does. But the big difference in these three types of assessment is the first two, the RSRA and the transaction screen, don't provide you with the legal protection of proper due diligence. That's when EPA came in and came in with its laws when AI was first introduced. That was all appropriate inquiry. EPA said that a phase one environmental assessment is the only thing that'll be considered a proper due diligence, and it needs to be following standards that EPA came up with, and that came up in 2004, initially, and then we started following it in 2005, and there's some ASTM standards which are upgraded or updated every 8 years or so, and currently we're up to the 21 standards in ASTM. I won't go into a lot of these. This is meant for getting more into detail here. Who does a phase one environmental assessment? So it's an environmental professional who has to do it with at least 10 years experience. And EPA defined what a environmental professional should be. And these are some of the responsibilities that each of them have: the purchaser and the environmental professional. This is some of the minimum qualifications for an environmental professional as defined by EPA, what they must have. So there's a lot of fly-by-night companies, so you have to make sure the person doing it has the appropriate experience, the environmental professional. So this is defined by EPA, what their qualification should be. What's the shelf life of a phase one? Short answer, about 6 months. It can be updated up to a year. I'm going through it really fast because when I give more training classes for phase one, then we get into more on the weeds. So I'm just going to get straight to frequently asked questions that I get from most of you guys. Why do I need to do a ESA? Is it really required by law in real estate transaction? And here are some of the answers on the slide. As you can see, it's not really required by law, but most lenders will require it. But when you have to seek one of the landowner liability protections, then as I mentioned earlier, the EPA will require you to do a phase one with the current standards. And currently, AAI compliance is met by ASTM 1527-13, which was in 2013. And now they just came up with a new one in 21, which most companies haven't really started following yet because chances are it'll increase the prices on the phase ones. But the 13 is still compliant, and we're continuing to do it with 13. Another one I get is, we already have a recent ESA. Why is my lender requiring me to do a new ESA? Well, here are some of the reasons. The ESA may be out of date, more than 6 months old, so they usually require it. Maybe the phase one wasn't done to standard, so it doesn't meet maybe the lender has higher standards, or it doesn't even meet the ASTM standard, so they may ask you. It wasn't done for the bank, so they'll ask you for a new one, or at least a reliance letter if it was a more current phase one and it was done to standard. So they'll most likely ask you for a reliance letter. Here are some of the other questions, but I can, if we are short on time, David, we could certainly open it up to other questions that people may have rather than me coming up with these questions.
Rob, thank you very much. And, I personally have a lot of questions, but, I'm going to let other people. I just want to say the following real quick. So I've known Rob for a long time, and, I've done probably many phase ones. We've done phase twos, and we've done remediation. And like Rob said, there's a lot of fly-by-night companies out there. So really be careful. One of the, I think, main thing, Rob, you may want to touch on, not so much a question, but you can say this. you're in with a lot of banks, because I know a lot of the environmental reports that you have to do. The bank, if you're working on getting a loan, you have to make sure that the bank approves, let's say, Alpha Environmental. How many banks are you currently working with? Can you please just touch on that real quick?
So, David, that's a good question. Thank you for asking that. So, over time now, since 1993, you could be rest assured we pretty much work with everybody, by now, like Bank of America, Wells Fargo of the world, and, various banks over time, even during the crash. So I don't know how many we're on the approved list of. It was hard to keep up. So we're mainly relying on word of mouth now, but several of the banks and several of the clients hold us in high regard. And like I said, they could do a reliance letter if we are not on their list, but we're on several banks' lists. And a lot of them are getting away from these lists. In fact, when we were just on Friday for that networking, I was talking to Wells Fargo, and they don't go with their list anymore because there are so many procedures they have to follow. So they go with anyone, and they're pretty much opening up. And now that you could get a report from anyone, as long as it's done to standards, maximum they may require is a reliance letter or a review.
Thank you very much, Rob. Really appreciate it. With all that information, I don't know whether I should have tequila shots, a beer, or maybe just a simple martini. Man, that's a lot to take in, but we will, say thank you. Any questions from anyone? I think we have time for maybe 2 or 3 questions. No questions out there. Rob, if you want to just real quick give your email address and your phone number, best number to reach you at, the agents are on, they can definitely do so after this meeting.
Yeah, I don't think I put it in this presentation, but we could certainly email it to you so we could provide it to everyone. That way they have the contact information. Again,
I can add your name and your email in the chat.
Yeah, so rob@alphaen.com, and that's really easy. And again, you could put our number in there, 800-989-alpha. So that's the best way to get in touch with us. And again, we have an East Coast office now. We do most of Southern California, obviously, but we go all the way from the Canadian border to the Mexican border. So Western United States, and now on the Northeast as well.
I have a question.
Yes.
My name is Roger Arthur. You mentioned that I saw the presentation. The phase 1 costs could be $1,800 to $2,500, and the time would be about 6 months, right? Am I saying that right?
No.
I just wanted to know what the time and cost would be for a phase 2.
Oh, okay. So typical turnaround time for a phase 1 is actually 10 to 12 business days for us. Typically, it needs at least 15 business days because we have to send requests to a lot of agencies, which take at least 10 business days to respond. So a typical turnaround time, and it's matches with usually your due diligence period in your escrow, where I get often asked, how much time should I allocate? So a good time is at least 21 days if it's going to be tight, but ask for 30 days when possible for due diligence.
And on the phase 2?
Phase 2 is similar. So as soon as a phase 1 knows that they're going to require a phase 2, they should reach out and let you guys know that a phase 2 is likely going to be required, and you ask for an extension, and we need 3 to 4 weeks for a normal turnaround time for a phase 2. So that's the normal. But if it needs to be rushed because the owner won't give you any extension and all of that, there's ways to work around that. So we could rush the analytical from the labs and so forth. So, but typically 3 to 4 weeks.
Rob, in fact, you hit it right on the nose, because we're working on a transaction, which we will be in touch after this meeting for sure. So if you did want to expedite it, which you said you can, for a phase 2, which we're going to be in need of on one of our transactions, you're talking about instead of this, let's say 3 to 4 weeks, can you push it to 2 to 3 weeks? Because I know you have to have the lab, making the
Right.
appointment with them and getting the drills out there, and depending on how big of a site and how many borings you're going to do. But would you be able to push 2 to 3 weeks on a phase 2 if you were to expedite it? I know it's going to cost money, of course.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Everything translates to dollars, right? At the end of the day.
Show me the money, baby.
So yes, the answer is, of course, you can. A lot of drillers are nowadays busy, so it obviously depends on what's going on at the site. Is it really like, what kind of drill rig are we going to need? How deep we're going to go? Are we talking about just a dry cleaner or a gas station? What type of scope of work? So phase 2 vary all over the place when it comes to phase 2s. They could, it all depends on the scope of work and can it be done. We've done phase 2s even in 2 days in extreme cases. We just go take a mobile lab there and the client just wants an answer, is there contamination or not? And we'll go with a mobile lab, drill there the next day if need be. And, those are extreme, but to get a finished report, yes, we need some time, so.
Excellent.
And
Excellent.
the cost would be approximately
For a phase 2?
Yeah.
Phase 2s, again, depends on the scope of work. So typical phase 2s for a gas station, you're probably looking at in the neighborhood of like 7,000-ish. And then they go all the way up. We've had phase 2s for 100,000 even, or more, because it all depends on how big of a site you're talking about and how many borings we're doing and so forth.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Bob, thank you very much. We have room for maybe one more. We can do a quick question. Anybody else? Quick question? If not, Rob, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. I know you're a busy guy, and I know you get enough from me in the day. So I can only imagine how many phone calls and emails. And guys, like I said, I've known Rob for a long time. He's very straight up, sincere. Definitely look him up, reach out to him, and he will assist you guys. So thank you very much, Rob. Appreciate it. Feel free to stay in. We're going to go to our next speaker, next presenter, Mr. Hani. And I just leave it at the first thing because this famous agent from our Arizona office, he's on. While we were listening to Rob, he was stretching, doing aerobics. I think while we were at the ICSC, because he knew I was working out, I motivated him to work out while, he's gonna, before he gets to doing his presentation. So Hani, thank you very much for joining us. I've had the pleasure and really an honor to work with a wonderful agent, Mr. Hani. I think a year and a half ago, we did a transaction in Mesa, Arizona. I'll tell you this, guys, and I've been doing this for many years, almost 28 years. I had a lot of agents I've had an opportunity to work with, and a lot of guys that, they just jump on, we go 50-50, 60-40, whatever you want to call it. But when it comes to servicing the client, when it comes down to carrying their weight, unfortunately, they disappear. Well, this gentleman here, he's totally opposite. He carried his weight and some. And it was really a sincere pleasure doing the transaction with him. And of course, we had an opportunity to get together. Our families got together, up in Phoenix when I was heading out to Colorado for a ski trip. So Hani, without any further ado, I'd like you to talk about the Arizona market and how I know a lot of people are moving out of California. And one of the places they're moving out to and do investments is the Arizona market. Hani, please.
I appreciate it, David, and thank you, Kim. First of all, can you guys see the big screen, commercial real estate?
We can, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. So my name is Hani Alduiaimi. I am the managing director out of the Keller Williams Market Center in Tempe, Arizona. So I've been in this role for about 20 years. Prior to that, I actually worked for Chevron doing new business acquisitions and development work. We had a regional office in Brea. The main office, as everyone knows, is up in San Ramon. And then I was working out of the Phoenix market. And all of you know and you know very well that Arizona is growing very quickly. So it's always been one of the big economic performers, and the headlines is that Arizona will continue to be an economic leading state here going forward. The main reason is because of the people moving here. So it's one of the fastest growing states. Doesn't look like that's going to slow down. And that is the driving force. When you have this many people moving here, you have a lot of economic activity and growth. So what I want to do today is first give you just a quick synopsis of the market, what is going on, a lot of variables out there in the marketplace and in the economy. So I want to first go through just kind of an update, and then I'd like to give you a little bit of information on some of my favorite projects that are in the Phoenix pipeline. So first of all, if we start with the hottest sector, and that's multifamily, because of everyone moving here, they need a place to live. And if you go back since the 2008, 2009, 2010 recession that we had, they basically stopped building homes, and we have a shortage here. So they can't build houses and multifamily projects fast enough. So investors continue to show huge interest in our market. The competition has been fierce, especially with out-of-state buyers. So we've had almost $18 billion worth of apartments that have traded hands in the last 12 months alone. So 18 billion, that's a lot. That's a lot of, that's just in the last year. So forget about what's happened in the years prior. So we've hit basically records in every category of multifamily. Rents have hit records, sales have hit records. It's really quite astounding what has happened in this industry. And it's because of everyone moving here. So the cap rates have been compressed. So our average cap rate for multifamily is about 3.9%, but we're still about a half basis point, maybe a little bit better than California. And that continues to drive yield motivated investors to our market. So just as strong as the multifamily sector has been, I would say industrial has also been really strong. So the past 2 years, we've seen the best on record in the Phoenix industrial market, especially when it comes to net space that they're adding to the inventory. So we have hundreds of thousands of square feet under construction, and millions have already been absorbed, and many, many more to come. So again, this is because of the growing consumer base. You've got online retail's growing market share. Those are the primary reasons, but there's another interesting fact that I like to share, and it's that approximately 35 million consumers can be reached within a single day's truck ride from Metro Phoenix. So that is spurring all this demand for companies in e-commerce, logistics, construction, and we're also one of the most active data center markets because Arizona has a tax incentive for data center development. We've got a very robust power grid, and there's very little natural disasters here. So data centers have been flocking to Phoenix. It's become kind of like a hub for a lot of the data centers. And of course, our proximity to California is another factor. So our industrial rents are about the national average, but we're about 35 to 40% lower than Los Angeles and Orange County. So when you put all those factors together, you can see why I believe the only market that is a little bit stronger than we are in industrial right now is Dallas. Retail, after taking a pounding after COVID, has bounced back very strong. Again, the growing Phoenix population and continued consumer spending has helped keep this sector fairly stable and healthy. Leasing volume is on the rise. New investors are searching for quality assets. The majority of this retail growth has been in the suburbs, the east and the west valleys, which is where all the growth is. That's where all the new highways are. So that's where we see a lot of this growth going. And luckily, consumers continue to go out. Crowded shopping centers. Demand has been really high for home improvement, drive-throughs. pharmacy locations. Very, very tough to even find certain types of products right now in the Phoenix market. The inventories are super low on the retail side for certain niche classes. And then we've got office. A lot of uncertainty about office, but we're seeing a lot of positive activity these last several months. Long-term lease activities picked up. Our leasing volume has returned to pre-pandemic levels. Sublease activity has surged to an all-time high. So a lot of sublease inventory hit the market and we weren't sure what it was going to do. It's getting absorbed. And so that's a good sign. And there's a lot of California-based companies that are moving to Phoenix. We've got Robinhood, Align Technology, PennyMac. It's telling us that there's some great value opportunities in the Phoenix market. And when there's value, there's demand. And office rents in Phoenix are one of the fastest growing rate-wise in the entire nation. So the rates are continuing to go up now. Development has slowed. They stopped building office. And because the values are there, the supply is low and the demand is high. And so we're seeing a fairly healthy office market. Hospitality, I think, again, we've done better than most of the rest of the country. As of April, the occupancy levels in Phoenix exceeded 2019 levels for the first time since the start of the pandemic. And we're seeing group and corporate occupancy increase. We're seeing a lot of positive performance, and we've got about 4,700 hotel rooms currently under development. So a lot of good things happening. So all of this economic activity, of course, is spurring a lot of development. So I want to just briefly go over a few of the projects that I have my eye on. So the first one is Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. So their initial phase is $12 billion. It's the largest direct investment of foreign capital in our state's history. So you guys are all in California. You're used to big numbers and you're used to a lot of this type of activity, but you got to keep in mind for some other states outside of California and New York, when you start talking about these kinds of numbers and this type of activity, it's new and it's exciting. So their first phase is 12 billion bucks, and they're a few months away from completing their first plant. But what we're seeing is a lot of ancillary development. This project is in Peoria, so it's a northwest part of the valley. It's about 1,100 acres, and the first phase is about 3.8 million square feet. So there's other phases, and it's going to take probably about another 10 to 15 years to complete. And that by the time it's done, it should be well over $35 billion. So we're already working with investors that are trying to get into some of these other ancillary properties around Taiwan Semiconductor. So they're smart. They're saying, listen, we know there's 35 billion going in here in the next decade. We want a piece of it. What properties can we buy? What kind of support and other types of related synergistic companies are going to want to be here? So this is a big one. The other one is Intel. So Intel has been in Chandler for many years. And they put, I want to say about 10 years ago, they put another several $1 billion into a plant. And now they're doing a new plant. So they've got two new semiconductor chip factories. The cost is well over 20 billion bucks. It's supposed to, they're already kind of in planning and development. So it's created about 3,000 construction jobs. And when it's done in a couple of years, they'll have about 3,000 high-tech jobs also. The next one is Metro Center. So Metro Center years ago, it was one of the first big regional malls in the Phoenix area. And it kind of, as the valley has grown, Metro Center kind of became an outdated mall. And so it needed change for many years. So finally a buyer emerged and bought it. And now they're going to redevelop it. So they're calling it the Villages. It'll have multifamily, office, retail, restaurants. It'll have a park in it, a lot of entertainment, and it's within walking distance of the light rail. So it's about $1 billion project when it's all said and done. And Phoenix really wants it to be kind of a hub for a lot of other commercial growth. And the construction probably will begin on this one, I want to say early next year. We're probably still a few months away from starting this project. The next one is Novus. So Novus Innovation, it's a, they already have 2 phases done. They're just started the 3rd one, and it's the largest development for ASU. ASU is monster university system here. It's one of the largest in the entire country. And this is one of their largest projects. So they've got a hockey and multi-sports arena. This is where the Arizona Coyotes are going to go. It's about 600 square feet of building that is going to follow. And they're speccing out office and apartments and a whole bunch of stuff. There actually was a golf course there that they took and have incorporated it into the innovation corridor. So it's no longer a golf course. The next one is Core Power. This is out in Buckeye. It's the first major US-owned manufacturer of high-density lithium-ion batteries. So it's a massive 1 million square feet, 12 gigawatt-hour facility. So it's going to be the largest battery manufacturer that we've seen to date. And they should be done sometime end of next year. It'll have about 3,000 high-paying jobs once they're launched. And it's also bringing other battery manufacturers now to the table. So we're going to start seeing more and more of that. I included Facebook's data center. So it's about an $800 million project. It's got 2 buildings, about 1 million square feet total. It will have about 100 jobs. There's not a lot of jobs that come with these data centers, but the reason I pointed it out is because there's so many of these that are planned for Phoenix. Again, not a lot of natural disasters. Our electrical power grid is very stable. And so you're going to start seeing more and more of these come to the Phoenix area. And then the last one is, so there's 2. One is called Cannon Beach. The other one is called Crystal Lagoon. So we don't have a lot of water here in the desert. So what the developers try to do is they try to bring the water to the people. If you've ever seen Tempe and the beautiful Tempe Town Lake. So Cannon Beach has a surf lagoon. It's in Mesa. It'll have an entertainment venue. It's about a 30-acre development. And it has about a 1.acre sand beach lagoon. Crystal Lagoon is even bigger. It's in Glendale. It's got an 11-acre lagoon, and it's got the first ever Mattel Adventure Park. It's got about 600 hotel rooms, 600,000 square feet of Class A office space, retail, restaurants, entertainment, apartments. They've already started construction. They're doing it all at one shot, so one phase. Pretty exciting stuff. And so those are some of the projects that I kind of have my eye on. We like to see what the synergistic opportunities are around some of these big giant projects. And I also like to work synergistically with other agents and collaborate. So if there's anything that I can do for you here in Arizona, I would love to work with you, just like I do with my good friend David. Any questions for you? I'm happy to answer.
Any questions for Hani? Hani, if of course we'll allow a couple questions if there are any, but I wanted to say, I think a lot of people these days, when they're looking to invest, when they're looking to get involved in any commercial real estate, whether it's apartments, industrial, retail, I think we all agree that they're always looking for that development, something just like the places that you touched on. There's just a lot of good stuff happening, and it seems like you really hit the home run on that. And I know we're asked constantly. Here we've had the opportunity to work around the new SoFi. So anything there, it's a gold mine. But I know a lot of people, again, are trying to get out of California because of what's happening here and go to other states. Arizona is definitely on their list. And who better than you? You've got a lot of good information. You're a great agent. You've done a fantastic job when you and I work together. So guys, I recommend highly, if there's anything you're doing in Arizona, reach out to Hani. His information is there. His email is there. And if he's not able to, take your call, he's the kind of guy who will send you a text. Hey, I'll call you at the end of the day. I'll call you in an hour. And in this business, of course, communication is the key, one of the key elements. And he's one of those wonderful agents that, he's on top of that. So great job, Hani, and keep up the good work. Say hi to the family. Any questions for Hani? All right. At this time, we just would like to touch on, and let's go with anyone that has any buyer needs, anyone out there working with a buyer in exchange, of course, exchange buyer, anyone that has that relationship and they're looking at buying something, please, speak up, let us know what your client's looking for and see if any of the agents who are on could assist. Anybody out there has a buyer or buyers? No buyers, huh? Okay.
I have a doctor that's looking to purchase a medical building up to 13 million. And it's an SBA loan approved. So hopefully it's half empty. If anybody has anything in the west side.
Definitely. You're talking to the right guy. So after this meeting, if you don't mind, of course you have my number, you have my cell number, and I'm sorry.
I do. It's Marzia. It's Marzia Thompson. I just
How are you? Yeah, just if you have my cell phone, if you just text me your full contact, it'll be my pleasure to speak with you because we do have exactly what you're talking about. Depending on how much square footage your client or the doctor is looking for.
Okay.
We have something which I'll touch on. In fact, well, when we get to agents that want to present their listings, if they have one or two listings, you'll get to see it. But definitely send a text out and I will reach out to you after this meeting.
Okay, thank you so much.
Maybe also you could put your name and number in the chat because you're getting some response there in the chat.
Okay, thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
All right. Anybody else? Buyer?
David, Jason Dufault.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, so we haven't closed escrow yet, but we're gonna need a exchange purchase, 52 million triple net or bigger.
I'm so sorry, Jason. Can you repeat that need again? I'm so sorry.
That's okay. We haven't closed escrow yet, but we're gonna need a trade at about 52 million. We'd like to do triple net, anchor something. We're trading out of a multifamily on a purchase with a partnership.
Sure.
So about 52 million or bigger.
And is it going to be just required in California, or are they willing to go outside of California?
They'll go outside California. We just got to pitch it to them and make it make sense. We're trying to get them out of fixing toilets for a living and make a better choice for themselves. Personal and professional growth, David, very important.
There it is. There it is. Are you involved in this?
Yeah. We're representing both sides, buyer and seller. So we're trying to do the right thing here. We've got to find something.
There it is. And I'm sure they're willing to deviate up into, let's say, 3 properties or 2 properties if need be.
We'll pitch it. We'll do a good job too.
But the key has to be more of a passive investment, or like a triple net, like a big box or drug.
Yeah. Something with a long lease and peace of mind.
Okay. Anyone out there, if you have any way, please be in touch with Jason. That's definitely that's where a lot of people are heading. They're tired of managing, like you said, fixing the toilet. I mean, I'm involved in a condominium, and I would never thought I'm gonna get a call where I got a guy that's smoking, and I got 2 neighbors that constantly complaining. And that's the last thing I was thinking. But again, it's happening, even on a condo in a very good location. So we're right with you, man. We're right with you, Jason.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you, Jason. Anybody else with the buyer needs out there? Don't be shy.
Yeah. Hi, David. This is Omid. How are you? How's it
Hey,
going?
how are you?
Good. I have a couple of buyers. One of them is interested in multifamily land. They're looking for a medium density. Their target size is maybe between 10 and 22 acres, developing, anywhere from 200 to 300 units, something like that. And then I have another client that's interested. I don't know if you guys saw that 900 unit that came up in Marina del Rey. I don't know if anybody saw that. It was like going for 400 million. The problem with that was that it was a ground lease. It was like a 40-year-old ground lease, which is not very attractive, but some product like that, which is kind of turnkey, can bring income. So got a couple of those buyer needs.
Is that the Marina City Club? What location was this? The 900?
I gotta look it up. It's in Marina del Rey. It was, I think it was on sale for 450 million, something like that. The problem with that was that it was it has a 40-year-old ground lease. The ground lease is going to be up in 40 years.
I think this is the one I'm thinking of, right? It's very close to Ritz-Carlton. But then again, I could be wrong.
Yeah,
Great.
maybe. Yeah.
Mel, there's an agent by name of Mel, I forgot, how do you pronounce his last name? Webstaff. If you were in the morning meeting, I know Kim put a shout out on that meeting today. I was presenting, and I know a few of the agents got on, but he's the one that spearheads that meeting. Mel Webstaff. He just does land. You may want to reach out to him, and of course, I can give you his number if you like. That's all he does. He just does land.
Maybe you or Kim can send that out to me. I'd appreciate it.
Yes,
That'd
sir.
be great.
I'll have Eric, who's sitting right across. Eric, go ahead and send a text or email to Omid Tebiani, Mel's information, please, because I know you're in touch with him.
And these particular people's criteria is they're looking for, unique pieces of property. So you can add that to the criteria. Thank you, David.
Got it. Pleasure. Anybody else for the buyer needs? If they're not, we'll go, we'll flip it now. We'll go to agents out there that have a new listing or maybe an existing listing. It's been out there for a while, and due to the market changing, they've had a price change, the motivation has changed. Any agents out there that has something that want to, put out or want to talk about? I personally have about 3 of them, but of course I want to allow the other agents to kind of participate. Anyone out there?
I do. Hi, this is Mary. I'm with the West Side office. I have an off market in Santa Monica. It's fully rehabbed though. It's 13 units, all studio units. 10 out of 13 units have already been leased. And the cap rate is 4.2%, and the price is 5.7, but I know the sellers or the owners, they're willing to negotiate.
Okay. Great. Anyone that has any buyer for that, please be in touch with Maya. And anybody else out there that got listing that they just picked up or anything that has changed, cap rate has changed, they had vacancy, perhaps they filled up the vacancy, the price was changed. Okay, so I'll jump in. And again, you guys all know that interest rates have gone up. They're going to have a meeting tomorrow, and we'll touch on this. They're going to have another 0.5 or 0.75%. So what is that going to do? We all know it's going to affect the price. How much of effect? Is it going to be 5%, 10% adjustment? But there's going to be an adjustment due when interest rates continue to going up. So our job as agents really is to sit down and educate every principal, every client that we're working with that something has to give. And we listed a shopping center approximately 2.5 months ago. It's called La Mirada Promenade. This is co-listed with Mr. Sam Alishai. I don't know if he's in this, in this Zoom or not, but this property was listed at $5,295,000. We actually went under contract, and the buyer being in exchange, which your ultimate goal to have an exchange buyer. And unfortunately, no fault of the seller. The buyer decided because he's too far from the real estate, he was going to pass. So he canceled the deal. So right away, I spoke with the seller and told him, look, we need to change the economics. The market is shifting. And he modified the price. He lowered the price from $5,295,000 to $4,950,000. Okay. And that's just to show his motivation. This is a shopping center that has 13 units. It is anchored by a Taco Bell. This property wraps around Taco Bell. It was completely redone, remodeled earlier this year. He finished, all the remodel and rehab. And right now, the existing tenants, and a great tenant mix too, Mexican restaurant, a liquor store, a bar, just to name a few. We do have a few vacancies, and he's working on getting those leased out. In the interim, if anybody has any buyer for retail, shopping centers, signalized intersection, is in an exchange, not in exchange, looking for an opportunity, looking for the added value that we're all looking for, all the principles out there, this is it here. In fact, to show the motivation, how motivated he is to sell, he will even possibly guarantee the vacant units for up to maybe a year and a half. And if anyone that's pushed for time and needs help with financing, he may even do seller financing. So there goes all the pluses on a transaction that we're all looking for. And this deal could be somewhere about a 7 to 7.25 cap rate when it's all said and done, once it's stabilized. Again, La Mirada Promenade, please feel free to give me a call or shoot out a text or an email. I can send you the package and give you the video on the property. Next opportunity, we have a triplex that we've had out there for a while. And again, because of the market changing, the sellers inherited this property. They want nothing to do with it. They want out. The triplex, 2 bedroom, 1 bedroom, and 1 bath. Just a mile away from USC. We're at 140 West 47th Street, to give you the exact address. In LA, we lowered the price from $775 to $695. Again, triplex for only $695. Anyone that's looking for 4 units or less, this is a slam dunk. And they just lowered it by $80,000. Last but not least, and I'm sorry, the person that has that medical requirement for West Side, Marzieh, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, Marzieh John, this is for you and for others. Prime West Side. And I know a lot of agents have seen this. And again, this one is co-listed with Mr. Sam Elishahi. This property is located at 1456 through 1460 Westwood Boulevard. It's at the signalized intersection of Westwood and Ohio. If you all know where that Starbucks is on Westwood Boulevard, the ones that know West Side, this is right across the street on the same side of the street. So it would be your northeast signalized corner. We have a 3-story building with on-grade and subterranean parking. And we have a store that used to be a hardware store for many years. This property is available for asking price of $11,995,000. We're approximately 17,000 square feet building. That's the size of the structure, and sits on about roughly 14,000 square feet of land. We've had a lot of people come in looking at it. Doctors, medical requirements, attorneys, accountants. So as long as we can satisfy the parking requirement, depending on how much square footage they need for medical, the rest, whatever needs to be used for medical, the rest of it can be, rented out. Yes, sir. Oh, okay. And thank you very much, Eric. Eric just added the marketing package to the chat. So if you take a look, you'll see then 1456 through 1460 Westwood Boulevard. Sellers are motivated. They do want to sell. And this is a great owner user opportunity. Not so much an investment, okay? Because I get this all the time. Hey, why is it vacant? If I get it leased, can I get it at a 5 cap? Can I get it? It's more of an owner user play. So Marzieh, this is a perfect opportunity for owner.
Yeah, fantastic.
That you have. And we'd be glad to tour the place with any potential buyers that you may have that you feel that it would be the right candidate. And SBA, definitely SBA, as long as they're taking 51% or more of the square footage, qualifies for SBA. And even though the rates have gone up, believe it or not, what you can lock yourself into 25 years fixed today at around 5%, still a damn good rate. I know 4 or 5 months ago, we were up to down around 3.9, 3.5, but even at 5%, you're still getting a phenomenal interest rate, locking it for 25 years. So it's a perfect opportunity for an owner user. Please feel free to text me, call me, or one of the team members, and we're glad to discuss these 3 opportunities with you.
I actually sent this to a client this morning, David, Santa Monica one.
The one on Westwood, you mean?
Yep. I sent it this morning, so I'll be in touch on that.
100%, definitely. And I really encourage you guys to come and I am sorry to say this, guys, we got us, and I apologize, but we got to get off our ass. I'm sorry, I have to be very blunt. And we got to do things the old fashioned way. You're lucky I didn't have any alcohol. Otherwise I would say a lot more things I don't want to say, but I love you guys. I'm the type, you know what, man, we got to practice the old fashioned way. No more put the property on LoopNet, no more put it out, put a sign and it's going to sell. It's not happening. Forget that. Get that out of your head. Okay. We got to work together. We got to get off our behinds. We got to take that next extra step to make that deal go. Market is getting more difficult. So we all have to work as a team. We all have to help each other. We got to do those extra steps to make those deals go. Okay. So if anyone that has questions, anyone that wants to get on a call, they want to discuss it, feel free, pick up the phone, stop emailing, call me, text me. That's who I am. I hope you guys are the same. That's what it's going to take to put deals together. Whether you agree with me, you disagree with me, I'm sorry. Those are my personal feelings. So
I'll be giving you a call.
Say that again?
I said, I'll be giving you a call.
Hey man, I look forward to it, please.
And I think it's a tier 3 TOC, right?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. I was involved, just so you know, I was involved on another property on Westwood, and it was purchased by a PI attorney, 1310 Westwood Boulevard, smaller, about just shy of 7,000 square feet. We did that deal for about $700 a square foot, and put aside, we had like 4 or 5 other offers.
Okay.
This is a much
I'll
better
come up.
deal.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I know we have just a few minutes, couple of minutes. Anybody else would like to say anything about the market, about any deals, any last minute thoughts, anything whatsoever? I'm sorry if I do a lot of talking, but.
Hey, David, I'd like to add, this is Rob from Alpha Environmental again. Just wanted to put it out there. If somebody or transaction, God forbid, falls apart because of environmental issues and property is contaminated, it looks hopeless, we may have buyers for those properties. And, I'm also an investor, so I'll be willing to go as a partner on potential investors and, make, turn that property around, value add, clean it up and put it back in the market if need be, or hold it. Just putting it out there in case you come across anything.
Thank you very much, Rob. And I guess all of you guys are on the line, you listen to that and keep that in mind. And just because you get a contaminated property or somebody says, oh, it's contaminated, don't just hang up the phone. Don't say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't help you. You can help them. People like Rob, there are others that will buy. Of course, something, has to give. The price has to be adjusted and, be compensated for your cleanup. But Rob just touched on something. So if you're dealing with any contaminated property, definitely continue the dialogue and try to take that on. And feel free to call Rob or, your clientele that are buying properties like that. So thank you very much, Rob, for touching on that. Anyone else, anybody else that would like to say anything?
David, I want to thank you so much for you and your team putting this together and selecting some great speakers for us today. Before we close, I did want to ask, just in case there are agents out there that are not familiar with the meeting that you shared with us this morning, can you tell us exactly, like, what exactly is that group? How often do they meet? Who all can join on those calls? And, how does that work as far as shouting out your commercial properties?
Sure. Thank you, Kim, for touching on that. And this is actually, this was brought to my attention by Mel Wegstaff. Again, I'm sorry if I mispronounced his name. He is part of a group called REOC. I don't know what it stands for. He called me about 2 years ago. It says, David, I see you're very active. I'd like you to, present. So I became a member. It's nominal. I think it's like, what, $100, Eric? 90 bucks, $100 bucks? $100 a year. His information is in the chat. Yeah, and they do it like once a month or once a month, right? Last Tuesday of the month is when they do. Last Tuesday of the month. See, Eric knows more information. And the meetings take place on the Tuesdays at 8:30 a.m. I got to tell you guys, a lot of the listings, I mean, that for example, this morning there were 40 presenters. A lot of it maybe not what you were working on, but you have an opportunity to see what's out there, what's going on. But it's about a 1 hour time from 8:30 to 9:30. And if they do go overboard, they go till about, 9:45. And, that's another channel, another opportunity to get your listings out there. And the same way that, if somebody has a buyer, you can kind of give a shout out, hey, I'm looking for a buyer. This is what they're looking for. And, they'll reach out to you and help you put a deal together. So, yeah, I will reach out to Mel. And Eric, you want to put Mel's information? It's already in there. Yes. So there you go, Kim. And it's, just another venue, another avenue to get the word out on your listings. And when we owe it to our clients, remember, you got to work harder. You got to, expose the property. How many times people say, hey, I want to sell, but bring me a buyer. Well, these are the things we do to get the word out. It's not only just calling, but I'm doing presentations on various commercial meetings, get-togethers. Eric here puts out every listing that we have roughly in about 10 sites out there, 9 to 10 sites, depending on what it is. So we're constantly marketing, promoting, as I said at the very beginning of this meeting, like Ricky Martin, we're doing a performance, man. We're performing on a daily basis, every minute, every hour, whatever you want to call it. But that's what this business is all about. Okay. We cannot cut corners. We got to work hard and put deals together. And thank you.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Hani
it.
And Rob.
Have a wonderful day, everyone. And any questions, anything that we can assist, my group, Hani, Rob, and again, we appreciate both of their times. Please reach out. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and look forward to seeing you on our next meeting. When is the next meeting, Kim? Our next commercial meeting? For ones that are interested to know. Sorry, I had to put you on the spot. And I know next one, Manny will be leading.
August 9th.
August 9th, guys. Please put that on your calendar. August 9th will be our next meeting at 1 o'clock.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.
Thank you.